Well, we are looking at a rather active day of weather in the middle of an active week of weather. Tomorrow, we're under a weather impact alert. It runs from Wednesday to Thursday for strong winds hitting much of the inland northwest. And those winds are going to have a decent impact. For us, predominant, I would say, concern is breaking tree branches. Tree branches that could potentially knock out power or entire trees that could topple over. This has all of the ingredients to be an historic wind event, just like what we saw in 2021 or 2015 or even last December, just a few months ago. In place, we already have high wind warnings. Those are for wind gusts of 50 to 65 miles per hour. They stretch from the Cascades all the way through into Montana. 50 to 65 miles per hour is exceptionally strong. In this area, there is also likely going to be a peak gust near 70. I would not be shocked if that peak gust was here in Spokane. The last couple wind events that we have seen have delivered the strongest gusts to Spokane itself. And I don't think that is going to change with this one, with how this storm moves in. It's interesting. Tonight, not really a concern. Tomorrow, wind picks up 20 to 30 miles per hour throughout the day. Sun goes down. We start drying out from some of the precipitation. Our wind then starts picking up. We get to near 40, 45 miles per hour by, say, 7 p.m. By midnight, we are in the strongest of this. I think midnight to 2 a.m. is the window for some of our stronger winds. It is going to stay really windy through the time the sun comes up in a good chunk of the day on Thursday. But we're going to go midnight to 2 a.m., 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts with local gusts near 70. And once again, that could very well be here in Spokane. Saving grace out of this one is really that we have seen so much wind recently. Remember back to 2015? That caused widespread tree fall, major power outages that took weeks to fix, and all of that was just because it was our first time seeing wind of that magnitude in a very long time. Saw it again in 2021. Very devastating. Saw it again this past December. This time, we will see trees fall. When you're talking wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, you are in that realm where trees will tip over. Thankfully, we have already seen a lot of the weaker trees tumble in recent years and even recent months with that storm back in December. So, impactful, thankfully not as bad as it would be. Still really, really bad. Thursday, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So even though our weather pattern shifts, everything moves farther to the east, we wind up watching that happen right as the sun comes out or rises. With the sunrise, that adds energy to the atmosphere, stirring. And so that means all of the wind overhead can propagate down to the surface. And that's why we stay so windy through the day on Thursday. Eventually, we start calming down. Friday looks much calmer. We will see a little bit of wind, but once again, much calmer across much of the inland northwest ahead of a rather calm weekend. This storm's still far away. I always say, don't really trust anything more than 3 days out. It's a pretty safe bet here in the inland northwest that anything more than 3 days out hasn't really even taken shape off the Pacific. You might look at this and think, oh, is that our storm? Is that our storm? Is that our storm? This right there. See this little dark spot right there? That's our energy. That is the storm that hits us tomorrow night, bringing us the widespread, potentially damaging wind here in the inland northwest. This is a stream of moisture. That moisture equates to some decent mountain snow over the next couple of days. And as we set up an atmospheric river closer to the weekend, some serious snow up high and unfortunately some rain mixing in even in the mountains. Wide view here. Got to get the big picture before we can walk through what it looks like down low. Because here's that swirl we saw earlier, but watch what happens. Our storm comes from the southern side of that swirl, moves in, so by Wednesday it becomes our classic event. All of these black lines you see on here, by the way, those are lines of equal pressure in the atmosphere. We often talk about high pressure centers or low pressure centers, and this is our low pressure center. And then along these lines, you get wind flowing in a clockwise motion around your low pressure center. So all of our wind is going from west to east across the inland northwest as our low moves through southern British Columbia. We wind up getting our front moving through, and that is what is eventually going to first bring us moisture, then dry out, then bring us some of that strong wind Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. It's a pretty potent storm. Up in the mountains, we are talking incredible amounts of snow, especially over on the west side of the state. This thing moves through, and by the time we get to Thursday, it's already out of the region, and we just start looking ahead toward the weekend with a big pattern shift. Let's talk what that means down low. Talked about the wind. Now we have to talk about the other side of this. That's the snow. Once again, we have blizzard warnings in effect for the Cascades. You're probably going, wait a minute. Why are these happening so often? We've kind of changed the criteria for what creates a blizzard warning, but blizzard conditions are still the same. More than 3 hours of wind blowing more than 30 miles per hour and visibility dropping below a quarter of a mile. You don't technically need snow falling from the sky to get a blizzard warning. So these blizzard warnings are for snow falling from the sky and wind blowing at 50 plus miles per hour. Switch over to Idaho. 12 to 24 inches of snow. So potentially around the same amount of snow that they're seeing over in the Cascades. The blizzard warnings are interesting. You're going, wait, there's more snow expected there, but a blizzard warning here. Great question. The blizzard warning really just runs Wednesday night. See the winter storm warnings hit it in there, the pink hit it in there? That will run all the way into the weekend. Our winter storm warnings over in Idaho will actually run through the weekend for snow. So our 12 to 24 inches of snow with winds at 60 plus miles per hour is for a few days. The strongest winds, though, will be Wednesday night. Strongest winds, Wednesday night. So tons of snow over those mountain passes. That is almost a guarantee at this point. Already seeing it over in the Cascades, and it is going to spread over toward us, but it's likely not really going to make it until about Wednesday early in the morning. So tomorrow morning, nice and early, before the sun comes up, we're in some of that snow. Then as we move through the day, all of that moisture creeps its way down. There's decent model indication that we'll see it make its way all the way into parts of eastern Washington. I do think that's pretty likely. I think by the afternoon, we're seeing rain, mountain snow. That snow level starts creeping its way down. In some places in the inland Northwest, might even see a little bit of snow activity down low. Does it stick? Probably not. We've just been too warm, even with how cold we've been these past couple of days. It's too warm, our sun angle's too high. By this time of year, you're fighting a ton to get snow to stick. You have to have snowfall rates that are pretty incredible and a decent amount of it to get it to stick to the ground. So not likely going to stick in places like Spokane, even I would say over towards State Line and Post Falls, you're pretty good. Coeur d'Alene, I think up in the hills you might see some, and down in Moscow you might see some as well. All of that rain moves out as wind starts picking up. So you're going to notice the rain starting to taper off as the wind picks up. Kind of a trade-off for us. Rain winds down, wind ramps up. Wind then blows all night long, moving out some of our moisture. So the moisture that we do see will be up in the mountains. Basically, a strong zonal flow is going to take it and then use the orographic enhancement of our elevation change. It's going to use the mountains to squeeze out some of that moisture. On the backside of it, it is going to be rain, but also when you have a strong westerly wind, strong wind directly out of the west, it is really easy for us to dry out in the rain shadow of the Cascades, and that is likely what takes us through the day on Thursday. Eventually, though, all this moisture builds back in. Right now, there's model indication that Friday morning starts out with snow. Some of them are taking it into Friday afternoon, but I don't necessarily believe that's the case. Let's talk snow through Thursday first. Through Thursday, 24 inches of snow over Snoqualmie Pass, 12 or so inches over Lookout Pass. So once again, Snoqualmie getting more snow in the short term. In the long term, we're getting every bit as much over Lookout Pass. It just takes us a couple more days. Through Thursday, we might see some of that snow creep down. Coeur d'Alene might get a little here in Spokane. If we see any, it's less than an inch. You move up to the north, Colville, Deer Park, Republic, could see a couple of snowflakes. Sandpoint could squeeze out a couple of inches, and a similar story down in St. Mary's and Moscow as well. The reason I don't think we see widespread rain come Friday is this. Here's Friday, Here's that same map. Remember our map with our black lines that are equal pressure? Look at that stream of moisture. That stream of moisture coming off the Pacific is going to be warm. When we get this, those snow levels always climb. We're really cold right now. We don't really have what it takes to get those snow levels to stay down low, even with how cold we've been. It tries to fill in here, but eventually the warmth wins out and those snow levels climb back up into the mountains. And by next week, we're talking some serious heat across the inland Northwest. Like, seriously, we go from this cold, wet, somewhat wet weather pattern where we're seeing little bits of snow and these cold winds and these cold temperatures each morning to a big turnaround. By next week, it is very, very likely that we hit 60 degrees under sunny skies, even by Tuesday, and stay warm through the second half of next week and into next weekend. However, getting there is anything but a mild ride. We're under that weather impact alert starting tomorrow. That weather impact alert runs through Thursday. Remember, it starts with snow and rain, and then as those wind down, wind picks up. Our strongest wind gusts are going to be overnight. Wind will be strongest around midnight, Wednesday night or Thursday morning, however you want to look at that. It continues through Thursday. We're under that weather impact alert for it, and our temperatures stay relatively close to the seasonal norms. By Friday, we're back up near 50 degrees with a steady stream of moisture, bringing more widespread precipitation. Saturday, Sunday, we have a chance of showers. You just can't be in an atmospheric pattern like this and not see that chance of rain and even snow both Saturday and Sunday, especially with a cold air mass overhead. We get rid of that cold air mass on Monday, and by Tuesday, we're climbing all the way up to near 60 degrees. And if it's the spring weather you want, late next week, it is going to be hot and sunny across much of the inland Northwest. Once again now, weather impact alerts in place Wednesday and Thursday for strong wind Wednesday night.